Well, like many institutions across the South, Future Farmers of America was a segregated organization up until the 1960s. Since that time, FFA has made great strides in righting old wrongs with a concerted effort to attract more minorities into what has become our nation's largest youth organization. At this year's national convention, the FFA recognized a group of pioneering individuals who are part of a separate organization designed to help young black farm kids in the era of separate but certainly not equal. Our Lisa Hines had the chance to sit down with two of the group's surviving members as they celebrated the 75th anniversary of the NFA. Well, it sounds like you got to be part of some living history.
I did, Rob. I got to meet two very engaging gentlemen who've worked long and hard for something they believe in. The New Farmers of America National Organization was formed in 1935 to serve African American agricultural students in areas with segregated schools. Primarily in 16 southern states, the purpose of the NFA was to develop agricultural leadership and an interest in farming occupations. I had a chance to sit down with Oklahoma's last surviving NFA advisor, W.G. Parker, and also a former NFA student, Leroy Brown, to talk about an organization that was a reflection of the times. W.G. Parker remembers it well.
NFA started with a few chapters after the organization of FFA. You get it? All right. We patterned after that organization.
An organization focusing on agriculture.
In the Muskogee, we had a hog farm, we had poultry. Every boy in agriculture had a project, although they were city boys. That's a fact. You can take the guy out of NFA, but you can't take NFA out of the boy.
And for Leroy Brown, NFA developed his love for agriculture.
When I was a young man or a student in school, agriculture was not popular among black students. And I imagine that Sam Combs and Parker and the Hamptons and the other old VOAG teachers had a real motivational standpoint of getting us involved, because we were just one generation away from people who have worked as sharecroppers and had a very negative attitude about agriculture. And they were saying, even with me, when I went off to school, people were saying, why would you go major in agriculture? And we finally have got off the farms. But it was those old NFA teachers that understood and had a love for agriculture and wanted to blend that within us. And I think they did a great job of it.
In 1965, NFA merged with FFA, and they became one large organization. At the 2010 National FFA Convention, NFA members were honored as they celebrated their 75th anniversary. The merger between the all-white FFA and the all-black NFA was well-intentioned, but it wasn't easy.
In the FFA, a lot of the requirements dealt with owning land, owning enterprise, and being able to manage that. Where you can think that the NFA, the students didn't have that kind of ability. Their parents didn't own the land and so forth. So it was, when the merger took place, I think it was a drop in interest strictly because you could not compete when it came to the economic portions of the membership.
Not all lost interest, and many young blacks like Leroy went on to succeed in the ag industry, all thanks to some dedicated educators.
Those old NFA VOAG teachers really met a need. And I look at my entire career, my whole career was based on that basic training that I got. And not only just the time getting out of high school, but the effort to get me to college, and then even after college. It was a camaraderie and back and forth and a mentoring with my VOAG teacher. And so to me, it just had a total impact on my life.
Success Brown hopes to pass on to all new generations of minority students.
Now, all day, Lisa, we've been talking about the disappearing black farmer. What is the FFA doing trying to turn around that trend?
Well, I spoke with Erica Flores, who is the coordinator of diversity and inclusion at the National FFA headquarters. And she says what they're trying to do is really to increase membership engagement so that they can get more minorities involved in FFA. In fact, her position is the first that they've ever had, and it's really more to try to increase minorities in FFA.
Now, typically we get to meet like the leadership in the FFA, and we met quite a few in recent years that have been in minorities that have been in leadership positions. How is the FFA doing with their membership?
Well, there's about 15% in the FFA that are Hispanic, 2% are Native American, and 4% are African American. And the outgoing president, Levi Randolph, who's from California, was the second black president FFA's had since the merger.
Well, it certainly sounds like work to help these young black students has not waned.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks so much, Elisa. Now, we're going to hear again from Mr. Brown about work he's still doing to encourage minority students to enter agricultural fields. And you can also meet a young lady by the name of Layla Haji on our website at okrazin.com. She is a young Oklahoma minority student who is on the National Officers team from 2006.